Hey guys, Dislater Magic here. It's time for another card that definitely fits the bill when it comes to overlooked but awesome. This one is awesome because it's just plain weird. In fact, it totally reminds me of the famous quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "When you're playing Magic and you want to get weird, you gotta go Sphinxes." That saying has never been truer than Sphinx Ambassador. That card is bonkers. It's mythic rarity, it costs 7, it's blue, and it's a 5/5 flyer, so pretty much your typical Sphinx. The special ability on this particular Sphinx, though, is what sets it apart. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, search that player's entire library for a card, then that player names a card. If you searched for a creature card that isn't the named card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. Then that player shuffles his or her library. So not only do you get to see their entire library, which I think every effect that does that should be banned from the game because it's just a note-taking, time-wasting nightmare and it's OP as balls because you know every last card that they're playing. Wizards recognizes the immense detriment that taking notes is because it's basically legal stalling. And in case you didn't hear about it, they just changed the rules about controlling your opponent's turn. You can no longer look through their entire sideboard and then obviously write it down in your notes, which is just a giant waste of time, and they even said that's why they did it. Oh, also, I learned this the hard way. You're no longer allowed, if you control your opponent's turn, to take their car keys, go out, get in their car, drive it to Burger King, use their credit card to buy a Whopper meal, and then come back and eat it in front of them. That was also considered immense stalling, so they just had to get rid of it. But of course, searching through the player's entire library, that's not that unusual. I mean, infinite obliteration, come on, everybody's seen the effect. The really funny one is the whole guesswork thing, the mind games. I don't like the way the card is phrased, so let me try to explain it in case you're not getting it. You look through their entire library, and you can choose any card you want. Theoretically, it would be a creature, though, because if you search for a creature card and then that's the one that you selected, then they attempt to name the card. If they do guess the name of that card correctly, then you do not get to place it onto the battlefield under your control for free. If they do not guess the name correctly, then you do get to place it onto the battlefield for free. So you're not casting it, you don't get an on-cast effect, but you do get the creature. Now, if they name it correctly, it just goes right back into their library. But here's the fun part. If you've ever seen a card like this, or pretty much any mechanic similar to this, you already know where I'm going with this. I didn't even need to read the rulings to know that you can do this. If a card name check or type check doesn't succeed or does succeed, oftentimes you really don't have to say which it is. There are a lot of different combinations, so let's just start with one scenario. You could purposely choose a non-creature card and then pull it, let them name it, even if they're obviously wrong because they would, name the most powerful creature card in their deck, theoretically. You could put it back without ever showing them if they were right or wrong, and they will assume that they were correct. Then the next time that you hit them with the Sphinx, you actually pull the card that they named last time. They think that you would never try to get away with it again, and then you get the creature for free because they name a different card. The first time you could pull a basic land, you could select any card. The same could be true if they do name it. Then the next time you could go for the same creature and they think, oh, he's not going to go for the same creature, but maybe you select a different creature the second time, like the second most powerful creature in their deck, and then they name the same most powerful creature because they think you will go for it twice. This is honestly like a game show at this point, and this isn't the only game show Sphinx I know about. But first I'll just read the ruling in its entirety so you can kind of picture the other scenarios in your head. I'm not going to go through all of them. After a player names a card, check if the card you chose has that name. If it doesn't, but it's a creature card, you may put it on the battlefield, so no surprises there. If you don't want to put that card onto the battlefield, for some reason, if it's not a creature card that you chose in the first place, or if it does have the name that the player said, all three of those conditions, it simply stays in the player's library without ever being revealed. That player then shuffles his or her library, including that card. So they never truly knew if they were right or wrong, or what type of card you selected or any of that. It was so you could get some serious mind games going. Also, I gotta read this other ruling just because it's really, really funny. Once you've chosen a card during your search, you must clearly indicate which card you've chosen, preferably without showing the front of that card to the player, ! Then the player names a card. Thanks for the tip, Wizards, but if somebody has that potato level of intelligence, maybe you should just give up on them playing Magic. Now, we all know that deep down, every Sphinx wants to be a game show host. I believe Abraham Lincoln said that as well. I have to mention the very recently cycled out M15 rare, Master of Predicaments. Whenever Master of Predicaments deals combat damage to a player, choose a card in your hand. The player that received the damage guesses whether the card's converted mana cost is greater than 4. If the player guessed, well, it says wrong, but I'm going to say incorrectly, which is the correct grammar. If the player guessed incorrectly, you may cast the card without paying its mana cost. That's right, cast. It doesn't even have to be a creature. I would say that this is more powerful, but honestly just as weird. I mean, Sphinxes get weird. This is not the only Sphinx that's utterly weird. So there you have it. If you ever want to start a miniature little game show in the middle of your Magic the Gathering game, you can now do it. I've been really digging through the Gatherer website and checking out all kinds of whacked out cards, and, well, just wait till you see what I come up with. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more in the future. Also, I did make the series into a playlist, and I will see you guys next video.